pretty much everything I learned in life, I taught myself. And I'm not saying that to gloat. I'm not saying that because I'm a genius, because I'm not. And I'm not saying that to put anyone down by any means. It's just a realization that I had, and also just like a new path that I'm starting to realize. And I realize not a ton of people, especially like me growing up, nobody ever really told me this is a way to do things. And I want to break that stigma first and foremost, but I also want to like inspire somebody that is out there that's like grappling like with this idea or this business venture or learning a new hobby, whatever it may be, that's like grappling with it, but they're like either scared or don't have the time, whatever it may be, to just try it. That's the biggest advice I can give to anybody right now, is just give it a shot. And you'll realize that trying something yourself, like just jumping into it, you're going to wire your brain in a way that going back to school or taking lessons or following somebody verbatim on the path they had it's just going to wire your brain differently than these other avenues would. And so when I say teach yourself everything, what I'm saying is to find your rhythm. Find a way to learn that is easy and fun and inspirational, and also like get you motivated. So down the line, when you feel the need of like, oh man, maybe I don't know everything. I would love XYZ's opinion on this. You're like ready and eager, and you already have so much knowledge in the back of your head that like approaching these people and asking questions and being ready to learn even deeper is just so much easier. And you can apply what they tell you and just jump it back into your rhythm, and you're good to go. Growing up, I remember my uncle sent me a guitar for my 10th birthday. And I don't even know why. I can't remember, but I know when I was a kid, I wanted to be a drummer, not a guitarist. I don't know why the guitar came. But anyway, he sent me a guitar, and I was like, thanks, Uncle John. And I just threw it in my closet because I was like, man, I don't want to play guitar. Like, that seems intimidating. Like, that's kind of scary. I never saw myself a guitarist. And also, drumming's kind of cool. But anyway, so I remember I got the guitar, and we were watching, is it Bruce Almighty or Evan? One of the Almighties. It's the one with Steve Carell. I'm thinking that's Bruce Almighty. And there's a scene in that movie where Steve Carell he's like getting changed, and Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top came on for like this little split second. And I was like, hold up, what is that? I was like, it's blues and you could dance to it? No, but I was like, this is so cool. I remember just falling in love with that scene. And I even remember when I was a kid, I used to just rewind that little 8-second clip over and over and over. And I remember I was like, wait a minute. I think I can learn this. Like, I have a guitar. ZZ Top has guitars. Billy Gibbons has a really cool beard. Maybe I need a beard. No, but but I was like, man, it would be really fun to learn that. And I remember I eventually just grabbed that guitar, and I was like, this is going to be really hard, but I got to do it. Like every part of me, my little 10-year-old brain was like, I want to learn how to play that riff. So I just grabbed the guitar, and boy, did I struggle. I just would noodling around. My fingers were like, man, it actually hurts really bad. And I was like, maybe this isn't that much fun. But like through that process, I just found myself like, my fingers aren't hurting as bad. I also figured out if I do this run up and down the net, like the strings like this, they make noise. And I also realized like I need to actually apply this much pressure. I started just slowly picking up on the dynamics and the techniques of playing guitar. Nobody showed me anything. Nothing. And I was like, this hand in tandem with my other one, if I got them aligned, I will actually make notes. And my parents won't be like, oh my gosh. And the cool thing was the guitar that I was sent is like an acoustic electric guitar. So it came with an amp. Like, this was the coolest thing ever. And I never realized it until how many ever years later. So thank you, Uncle John, for that gift, because it was beautiful. But man, I was like, this is really cool. And so through that process, I found myself like, I'm learning guitar. Like, I'm doing something that I thought I couldn't do, but now I'm doing it. And I also was a baseball player at the time. And so my dad and my coaches, they always just instilled discipline and instilled like whatever problem you have, just get through it. Like you got to work through it, especially like really hard practices in the summer. It's hot. It's like, but we're got to be a good team this year. And so I had all that in the back of my mind too while I was learning this guitar. I eventually just kept playing and I was teaching myself. And I remember my parents, I think they even got me a ZZ Top tablature book. I had no idea what tablature was. I remember, God bless them, I didn't even know what tablature was. I remember looking at it like, what are these numbers, 8 and 10? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. What are these? I was like, the frets. I was like, oh, I see. They count up in chronological order. And no music theory at all at that point. Like nobody was really telling me anything. And I remember, I don't remember how many months deep I was in, but I was learning it. And then I remember I eventually hopped on YouTube or some sort of thing. And I remember there was a video that talked more deep, like a little bit deeper on what tablature was. And I was like, oh, I get it now. So these are the whatever. And so then I started teaching myself these things, trying to play these shapes, fumbling through it. And I eventually was like, okay, cool. This feels fun. I don't think I'll ever still be able to learn how to play Sharp Dressed Man. So I put my guitar away. Fast forward a little bit. We moved to California when I was in 8th grade. Devastated. I mean, talk about creating like a solid group of friends in 6th and 7th grade and then just leaving and going to some foreign school. And you're like, who are all these people? This is so scary. Like brand new house, brand new state. I did not handle change well. So I ended up just like freaking out. And then I just every day after school, I would come home, lock myself in my room. And the only friend I had at that time was my guitar. And so I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to really learn this thing. And so I hopped on YouTube. I went down rabbit holes on YouTube, still just like fumbling my way through. And to this day, I still think I may not have proper guitar technique. Like watching myself play, I'm like, oh, I should probably be using this finger. But it was comfortable to me and it still does the same thing. And so I started just teaching myself all this stuff about guitar. And then I found Eddie Van Halen. I was obsessed with Van Halen. I was like, I got to do that. And so that whole year, I taught myself how to play this super foreign thing that was really scary and really hard, but it wired my brain in a different way that I ended up just applying to basically my entire life, all of it. And to circle back, learning guitar seemed so scary and out of reach for me when I was 10. Seeing Billy Gibbons on stage and then learning a little bit, then seeing Eddie Van Halen and seeing all these different bands, I'm like, gosh, I'll never do that. These people, they're doing it. But funny enough, I ended up getting pretty dang close, and it wired my brain just to look at life in a different way and just look at different mechanics, and also just taught me how to like reflect on like when I'm learning something, how do I learn it? What's the best way for my brain to learn? Because I found myself in some classes, especially like math classes or science classes, if I was reading something in a textbook, forget it. I'm just like, I'm reading it, I'm seeing what it's saying, but I don't understand it. And those were some of the subjects that I frankly struggled with the most in school. Like I got through it, but it wasn't like I fully understood it. And I just found myself like, I think I learn really, really well if I just throw myself into the wolves and kind of just fumble my way through. And that was never taught to me being a kid or in school. It was always taught like, you got to read the book, you got to take the test, you got to get through it. This is the one way you can learn. This is it. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you. And not to be super cliche and cheesy, but do you guys remember that poster in school? It's there's a picture of a tree and somebody's standing. I'll have to just put it up on screen, but somebody's standing there and there's a tree and the caption on the poster says, okay, today's test, everybody's going to climb this tree. And there's like a different mix of animals. There's like a fish in a bowl, a shark or something, a monkey and some other animals. And obviously only like one or two of those animals can actually climb the tree and the others can't. And so not to be cliche, but I think there's some huge validation to that poster, especially now that I'm older and just looking at things differently. Like there's some validation to that. Not everybody learns the same way, and that's beautiful. Imagine if everybody learned the same way all the time. It would be chaos. everybody has their own patterns. Everybody has what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And that's beautiful. That's what makes us human. And especially for guys, because like my friend group and I don't know, maybe it's just a guy thing, who knows? But like there were so many subjects where we were like, man, I just don't get it. And like the girls we were friends with were like, what do you mean you don't get it? So I don't know if it's just a wiring thing or if maybe I'm just whatever, but it doesn't matter, is what I'm trying to say. Whatever way you learn works. And I would really, really love to break the stigma of there's not just one singular way to learn. There isn't. Reading a textbook and taking a test does not make you smart or dumb. It just means you're really good at that form or that medium. And teaching myself guitar really made that apparent. And there were so many, like even, I guess I should backtrack a little bit. Even when I was learning guitar, there were a lot of people that were like, why are you learning it that way? Like, you got to do this. Or like, what do you mean you're learning like chords before scales? That doesn't even make sense. Like, do you even know the music theory? And I remember like, no, I don't know the music theory because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm not good at math. But I'm like, but I know it feels right. And I know it sounds right. And I know it's comfortable for my fingers to play and adapt. And so from there, I was like, okay, this is interesting because I'm learning guitar, but not the proper way to learn guitar, if that makes any sense. And all that to say, there are different ways to learn so many different things, especially now in 2025, where we have access to YouTube, to Google, to ChatGPT. I always say GBT. It should be B. So many people say B. To all these different ways to like, the library is free, like so many different ways to learn something. And it's awesome and it's beautiful. And I think that there is a power to thinking deep, into thinking, okay, what is the best way I learn? Like when I was in school or when I was doing whatever, what was easy for me and what wasn't easy for me? Why? What was the difference between the two? And in my example, looking back at guitar, just picking up the thing and playing it was so much easier than reading like, okay, so the fifth fret is an A note. And then when you combine that, like that was so hard for me to understand. And it took me to play guitar to then understand it. And for some people, it's the opposite. And so when you teach your brain to rethink about things differently, you just jump into your own rhythm. And like, nobody's dumb. No, you're not slow. You're not stupid. Like, no, scratch that. Like, you just have not found your rhythm. And like, sometimes it takes a little bit of practice and sometimes it takes some deep inner work to like, God, what is my rhythm? You just haven't found your rhythm yet. And once you find your rhythm, boy, watch out. Good God, y'all. No, but once you find your rhythm, it's awesome. It makes just learning anything just like rinse and repeat. And like in 2025 and with teaching yourself something, you don't need permission. You just need movement. That's it. You don't need permission to do whatever you want to learn and what your heart is calling you to do. Just do it. And from there, you'll learn like, okay, this is working, but this isn't working. But man, like I made progress. That's awesome. And especially for like younger kids, especially like me learning guitar and whoever, like kids just want to do something, and to just see like small amounts of progress is such a win. It's awesome. Even like the older we get, sometimes we're like, oh man, I would really love to redo my backyard, but I know nothing about landscape. All it takes is like, okay, what's step one? What type of grass grows best in our area? Oh, blue fescue? Woo, that's a win. Like that was one of your lines. You just found your line and you hit it. What's next? Okay, do I want to continue with grass or do I want a more like drought tolerant? Let me read up on this. Boom, another thing hit. And from there, your brain is just thinking critically and rewiring itself in a different way that you may not have done if you just stick with like one strict medium. Like, oh, you want to learn how to regarden your garden? Here's a book, like read all of it. Or, hey, you want to do whatever, instead of just like, you know what? I'm going to go get my hands dirty. I'm going to like go physically see what grass I have in my yard. I'm going to look at my yard's layout. I'm just going to go play. That's one way to look at it. I'm just going to go play and just see what happens. And then from there, all these different principles start weaving themselves in. And eventually, the other really beautiful thing about teaching yourself stuff is you're going to have a gazillion questions. And guess what? You're the only person there to answer them. And sometimes it becomes overwhelming where it's like, oh, okay, I got this far. This feels really good, but man, am I stuck on this and I cannot get out of the circle. That's why this is where the power of human connection comes in and community. Find somebody that you either know that has been doing it for a long time, or seek out somebody who's giving lessons, seek out a class. You could even search really far on YouTube for something that wasn't just like hitting the surface level, and just go nuts and see what they're doing, ask them questions, be ready to learn, pick up on their wisdom. So that way that like circle can be just expanded. And like be able to just reflect on those challenges, those failures, whatever, and just like understand that like having humility towards something, or like having humility does not make you weak. It makes you so powerful. Like so powerful to have a question, especially if you went down the route of, I'm going to do it myself. I got this far. There's like power to that. Some people are like, what? Like what you're learning how to change the engine on a car and you're not a mechanic? Of course you're going to have questions. And so there's power to reaching out to a community that's there and ready to help. I hope that makes sense. But when you go down the self-teaching route, it's because you're hungry. And so just start devouring. Devour as much as you can. Find your rhythm. Find what is working for you. Find what isn't working for you. If like, hey, I don't want to learn music theory yet, but I want to get comfortable with the guitar, hit it. Or hey, I want to actually understand the music theory and then play, hit it. Find your rhythm. Eat it all up. And then when you find yourself like, okay, now I'm just eating everything. What is this? Reach out to somebody and they'll teach you how to like which direction to actually eat in. They'll give your eating a structure. That's such a weird metaphor, but I think it makes sense. It'll give you a better structure and a better guidance. You already have the hunger. You already started tackling it. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, because there's so much power in community. And like, I don't know where I would be without my 6th grade language arts teacher, Mr. Moody. Shout out, favorite, like he was amazing. I mean, my whole schooling experience was amazing, but he in particular was just awesome because he was one of the pioneers that helped me realize like I can read between the lines. I don't have to just read I don't have to read the surface. I could read between the lines, and he did that. He was also the basketball coach there, and I think the volleyball coach. Anyway, he did that for the players on his sports teams. He did that for the kids in his class. He did that for any kid just asking him for advice outside of a classroom setting. And for me in particular, he just opened up such a different thought process and like was one of the biggest pioneers to like, you know what? I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to do something that seems really scary and I'm going to try it. So he was a really big player into like, I'm just going to teach myself guitar. So do not be afraid to listen to your teachers, listen to your coaches. This isn't like a, guess what, guys? I'm learning it myself. Get away from me. I don't want to hear your opinion. That's not it at all. This is, I have an idea. I want to learn something. I'm going to just try it. And I'm going to find my rhythm in the process. And then I'm going to reach out for help and then apply their teaching into my rhythm. I think men especially really need to hear that there is not just one way to learn. There isn't. And your way is going to take so many different trials and tribulations to figure out. But again, once you do and you find your rhythm, rock and roll, man. Hit it. Life is about rhythm and it's about harmony. And now we're tying more music in. No. But seriously, learning is no different. Find your rhythm and just be open and excited and continue that endeavor, and do not be afraid to try it. Don't. There's so many tools and resources. And again, even if you don't want to overwhelm yourself with like, I'm going to go on Google, I'm going to whatever, because there's going to be a ton of information coming at you there too. Just jump into it. Just try it. Like, for instance, I'll give you another example, and I not to just keep talking about myself, but I'm just going through it. Like, I'm just a dude going through it right now, and I've just learned so much. I have been in landscape for the longest time, and for some strange reason, I got this other calling. Like, I want to jump back into landscape. I want to learn landscape design. I think it's beautiful. I think being able to have humans, structures, and nature work in harmony together, I think that's beautiful, especially in Colorado. Like there's so much opportunity. I know nothing about landscape design. I don't have an architectural degree. I suck at math. I haven't picked up a ruler since 12th grade. I'm not Picasso. I can't draw to save my life, but I want to learn it. And so I found a really great, awesome textbook on landscape designs, in particular to residential landscape. I found some really great books on like horticulture in Colorado and xeriscaping. And the biggest hurdle for me was getting a blank piece of paper and drawing, saying, okay, put my landscape on this piece of paper. Show me what you got. That was the scariest part. But the part where I was like, man, I'm like really hungry. I want to learn how to do this. I want to help. I want to help somebody's vision, but also help the earth and help the planet and help the soil. I'm still going to just overcome this fear and give it a shot. And fumbled my way through doing some mock drawings and learning how to actually scale. Man, it was awesome. And now that I've gotten through that, I am so much more confident and excited to like reach out to somebody in this field and say, hey, critique this, than I would have been if I was like, I want to learn landscape design. I want somebody to like critique this little, like it's, you know what I mean? I didn't really explain that well enough, but I'm also just like even more hungry to where somebody that's been doing it forever and they're giving me advice on what I've done. Now I found my rhythm. I found that this is how I learn the best. This is how I'm going to master this. And what you just taught me is incredibly valuable. And now I'm going to put it into my rhythm. That's another like most recent example, and I'm still going through it. That's something that's happening now, which is, I guess, the channel where this podcast is going to be broadcasted is that of Oak and Elm Design. And that could be for another discussion. But I want to get into some scripture here before we go too long in this episode. So I'm going to read Proverbs 1:5 because it's absolutely beautiful. And again, like the previous episode, it's just so simple, but it's so beautiful. Again, there's something really beautiful about simplicity. In a world where everything feels like it has to be overcomplicated, it doesn't. So let me just open this up here. Give me a second. Okay. Proverbs 1:5. And this is from my Bible with more traditional language. So and I'll read the other one that's more contemporary. You have them both side by side. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance for understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. Whoo! It's so good. It's awesome. So now I'll read it in more contemporary language, just to have both. And also this Bible, it's pretty cool. Like just puts it in plain English. But now you're gonna laugh because now I gotta find it. It's like so contemporary. Now I gotta know where it is. Okay. To teach the inexperienced the ropes and give our young people a grasp on reality. There's something here also for seasoned men and women, still a thing or two for the experienced to learn. Fresh wisdom to probe and penetrate, the rhymes and reasons of wise men and women. Gosh, it's so good. Even if you're an expert in the field, you've been doing it for 100 years, there's still something to learn. I personally think none of us can ever become experts. Things change all the time in every single field and facet of life. Things change so much, and there's still so much to be discovered that you can never truly fully master something. There's always something that you can dig deeper and try better, do whatever, and do. And also, that comes from community. Somebody else's perspective could be mind-blowing to somebody that's been doing the same thing for 100 years. That's like, what? I didn't even know this. I've been in the same field. There's wisdom to that. And also, wisdom isn't about being the smartest person on the planet. Wisdom is about accepting and understanding that there is more to learn and that the people that have done it longer than you have a great perspective and there's something to take away and learn from that. I think that there is wisdom in defining your rhythm. That's wisdom in itself because you have the will, you have the knowledge, you have the spirit to step out of your comfort zone and try it. God does not call us to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect, which is another reason why I absolutely love nature. And I also call this podcast Find the Line. for any designer, it doesn't even have to be landscape design. For anybody in like the design or the art world, there's always a line to be found in an image, in a movie, in a drawing, in nature, and specific to landscape design. And again, if there's a landscape designer that's in this and has a better perspective on this and even deeper thought on this, please let me know. I would love to hear it. But from what I'm seeing, when you're working with nature, because nature is so beautifully imperfect, there you have to find where the lines connect to make it functional. You know, form follows function. You have to find where things can intersect and to make it fluid. There's a line there's a line to fluidity. Yes, there's a line to fluidity, and that's what makes it beautiful. And so to tie it back in to find the line, that was one of my sayings for this landscape design, is where's the line of where humans, plants, and structure can all work together in harmony without overlapping each other. There's a beautiful line there. And of course, you're working with nature. Nature isn't perfect, and that's what makes it beautiful. Humans aren't perfect. Ideologies from people are just beautiful because there's like such a diverse background of discoveries, and that's what makes being imperfect beautiful. He asks us to be in pursuit. He asks us to seek, to ask, and to grow, and that's what this is saying. Wisdom is having the will to learn for anybody and to step in and realize that, gosh, there is still so much to learn, you know? And like that's really applicable to even college, like people in college. Like I went to school for a bachelor's degree in marketing. Did I come out an expert on marketing? Not even close. I just scratched the surface. There's enough there to build a foundation and realize like, wow, there is still so much to learn. And that could come from a mix of self-discovery. That could come from a mix of reaching out to other business owners, to professors, to books. Like there's so much to learn about one singular thing, and it's so beautiful. But man, I really love what this contemporary says, to teach the inexperienced the ropes and give our young people a grasp on reality. It's so awesome. Like it's so good. It's beautiful. I just think that in a time of flashy, like you have to be flashy in order to stand out. That's not the truth. You just have to have courage and faith and trust in that what you're building, either individually or collectively, is going to just be so beautiful, and it's going to be so meaningful. And that simplicity always wins. Always. It doesn't have to be massively complex. It just has to be simple, tangible, and a good enough foundation for all to see and stand on and to gather on. Yeah, I hope I didn't go too long and I didn't lose you, but all I'm trying to say is for those of you out there that are like, you know what? I want to start a new adventure. I want to learn something. I want to learn the skill. I want to learn whatever it is. Jump into it. Full-fledged, just jump into it. Don't hesitate, and just find the way you learn the best. Break the stigma. There's not one way to learn anything. You can learn something from 5 different routes as long as it fits the rhythm that works best for you. Plain and simple. Especially for men. I just feel like we're like, well, it doesn't just have to be for men, but for anybody. I feel like we're just so pigeonholed into like, well, if you don't learn it this way, you'll never learn it. It's not true. Break that stigma. Let's start that. That's definitely not true. In a world where we have plenty of free resources, plenty of paid resources, and plenty of opportunities for us to just get our hands dirty and go, anything is possible. Whatever you have your mind set to, go for it. Just try it. Stumble your way through. Make those mistakes, because guess what? You're building tolerance, you're building your rhythm, and you're building you're building a community, like an unseen community with that, you know? Through your failures is what brings closer connection with your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your whoever. Being able to have that relatability will just create such a giant community and like just this wealth of like, let's go, and this wealth of knowledge and experience. So at the end of the day, give it your best shot. Go for it. Drop a comment. I would love to hear where you're at right now. What is something on your mind right now? I'm challenging you right now. What's something you've either been pushing off, you're too scared to try, or I want to try it, and just do it. And please, if you have videos of your progress, I want to see them. If you want to come on and share your story, message me. The line is completely open, and just know that you got this. You're amazing, and there's a world of possibilities out there. So find your rhythm, figure out what works best for you, and let's continue sharing the knowledge and building community. Talk soon.